Good morning! Welcome to episode 3, practice episode 3. We're not fully ready yet. We still got to get our microphones, get our lighting ready, things like that. But we are excited to be here this morning. And what do we have on today's show, Charlie?
Well, we're going to recap last night's Preds game, obviously, against the Winnipeg Jets. And we're going to review the World Juniors Finals. And that was a crazy game.
Crazy game, crazy goal. We'll talk more about that later.
Then we'll look around the league and just check up on everything to see what's going on. And then we'll do our card of the day.
Feature cards of the day. And if you want to stick around after at the end, we may, if we have time, watch the recap of the Preds game from the night before and maybe some other goals and things from around the league. So let's talk about last night's game first. I did not get to see the first half. So Charlie, catch me up. What are some kind of big things that happened, moments to take away? Overall result, the Preds closed off their road trip, 5-game road trip, I think. We started in Winnipeg, and we finished in Winnipeg. Both losses. I feel like we got hellebucked both games, you know? Yeah.
Hellebucked.
Yeah, he hellebucked us over.
Yeah, for the first part, I think it was just, in my opinion, it was just a goalie battle.
Mm-hmm.
And one roster change is that Novak's back in and Weisblatt's sent back down.
Novak's back, so that is the end of the Ozzy Weisblatt call-up, which was cool. And it was neat, the response around the league from his story. I was watching the Spit and Chicklets podcast yesterday. Have you seen that one at all yet?
No, not yet.
I'll play that one for you later, and they were talking about that story, which I didn't realize the video that's being shared was from 5 years ago. So it's been, a prominent story for a while, but this was Weisblatt's first game in the NHL, so that was a neat story, and he looked promising. I'm excited to see him back at some point.
And Lauzon's on IR too now to join Cole Smith and Adam Willsby.
That's sad.
That's a longer period that we won't see Lauzon probably. And today was also our last game without Zachary LaRue on his slew foot suspension.
Okay, so we get him back for we got a homestand now coming up. I think 5 games at home in a row. Mm-hmm. That'd be great.
At first the Preds looked like they were dominating. They were shooting, and they had good possession of the puck. But Connor Hellebuck's unfortunately the best goalie in the league right now.
Yes.
Which stopped that.
We saw last night, in the last 2 years, Hellebuck is on top of literally every statistic, right? First in wins, first in goals against average, first in save percentage, first in shutouts.
In the last 2 seasons.
For the last 2 seasons combined. How do you not pick him for the Vezina again? And the difference now is Winnipeg is also playing really good hockey. They've been good, but their power play... they made our power play last night look so bad because we had, at the end of the game, a 4-minute... We're down 2 goals, right? We're trying to come back. We have a 4-minute double minor, then a 5-on-3. And we can't score to save our life on the power play, it seems. We are missing Stamkos. That would help a lot. But we just can't seem to put it in the net. Ryan O'Reilly got 2 power play goals the game before, which was amazing, but we need some help. Then you have Winnipeg goes on the power play, and like 3 seconds in, they put it in the net. So,
it started going all downhill after Morgan Barron was behind the net or something, trying to tuck it in, and then Blankenberg comes in and accidentally puts it in with his own stick for an own goal. And then
that's our guy too. We were just talking last episode how much we've been having fun watching him. It's
Blankenberg.
It's sad to see, but it happens to everybody,
And he had a really good opportunity later in the game. Remember that?
He had a great chance later in the game. He was about to make up for it. Another one of those Bobby Orr-like plays as a defenseman.
Pretty much as soon, right after the Morgan Barron goal, Josh Morrissey comes in with a slap shot. It goes top right corner to give them a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, that's tough.
And the Morgan Barron goal was, I guess, cool because it's Justin Barron's brother.
That's neat. I didn't realize it's cool how many brothers there are actually playing. I don't know what the number is, but there's way more than I thought. It's neat to see.
And at one point, the puck was behind Saros, and Yossi, I think, came in and swooped it out of the way. It's like about to cross the red line, and it was behind
Yossi makes a big save.
He does that quite a few
all the
times.
time. We joke around sometimes and say, like, Yossi could play any position. He could play goalie. He could play forward. He's so talented. I saw this morning, though, they released... somebody put out their top 10 candidates for the Norris Trophy this year. I think it might have been Hockey News. As we get a little bit closer to the end of the year, most teams are at their halfway mark of 41 games, and Yossi was not in the top 10.
Oh, no.
That hurts. And I think a lot of that has to do with, he got injured. I don't think he's scored a goal since coming back from injury, and we're used to Yossi producing so much more of our offense. And, of course, like we just said, he blocks shots and does everything on defense as well. But it hasn't been the kind of year that we know he's capable of. So it kind of makes sense that he's not in the top 10. But there were a lot of guys, new guys in there like Werenski.
Yossi scored last night.
That's right. He ended his goal drought finally, which was a weird, not a weird goal, but what happens when you put the puck on net, right? He technically wasn't even going to put it on net. He hits a nice slap shot, and it bounces in off of the defender's skate and straight into the net.
Maybe Yossi's back where he's been before that injury, because he had 2 points last night for our only 2 goals.
That's right. Had the goal and then got the assist on whose goal?
Forsberg
also ended his drought. So a couple of good signs of life from our team, despite overall a sad loss. What was the final score? 5-2?
5-2.
5-2. So that's a tough result, but good to see Yossi and Forsberg score goals. Forsberg's been dishing out the assists. It said he is second in the league in assists since December 10th, I think it was. He's really been feeding the puck, but hasn't been able to put it in the net. And we know he's got such a nasty shot. It's weird to see him not scoring. How many games had it been? Do you remember what his drought was?
It's like 12 or 16 or something.
Something like that, yeah, like 16 games or 20 games without a goal, and that's unheard of for Philip Forsberg. So, I think, like we mentioned last episode, I think having 2 40-goal scorers on his line probably affects how often he's going to be the one putting the puck in the back of the net. But he's been assisting, and that's all that matters, is he's contributing to the team in some way. But it was good to see him. He hit a nasty snipe, too. It was from pretty far away, and just shot it straight into the net. So
I've never really thought about it, but I think it's crazy that this first line that we have last season, they scored like over 120 goals.
Combined, yeah, right?
That's crazy.
It'll be curious to see what the overall number for each of those guys is at the end of the year. When you put 3 40-goal scorers on how many did Forsberg have?
48.
48. So you put 3 40-goal scorers on the same line. What happens? Do they all end up with anywhere close to that total? Do they all drop down a little because they're sharing the load? And then that makes you wonder, is that the best idea, or is it better to spread them out? I think we started the season trying to keep them spread away from each other, but it wasn't working. Our line with Ryan O'Reilly, Gustav Nyquist, and Forsberg, what was so productive last year, has done virtually nothing this year. So they switched it up, and this has been our best line, hands down, is Stamkos, Marchessault, and Forsberg. So it'll be interesting to see if they can keep consistency and keep it going the second half of the season, what comes of it.
And towards the end of the first period was another episode of Predators Hitting Iron. In the last few minutes, Ryan O'Reilly hits the crossbar, and Forsberg hits the post.
That's just the story of our season. That's it. It's just over and over again. Would have been good to see Ryan O'Reilly get on the score sheet again. I've been loving his goals lately.
That third goal for the Jets, it was Kyle Connor. I mean, who else? He's been amazing this season.
He's had a great season. Yeah, he's looking really good.
I think he had a great season like 2 seasons ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then didn't do Kyle Connor expectation last season, and now he's back.
Was he hurt? I don't know.
He was hurt some of the season, but
Yeah.
when he was back, he still didn't do much.
Okay. I wonder how often that happens where a player comes back from injury, maybe a little bit early, or they come back and they've just lost a step from being out for a little bit and it's hard to catch back up. I know a lot of the NHL players say that by the end of the season, they're almost all playing with injuries. So they're not all really fully healthy. And, and I know Matthew Tkachuk was mentioning how banged up he was both times now that they've gotten to the finals back to back, and that most of his team was banged up too. So it's just a matter of, can you keep going and play good enough to come out on top in the end? And it's got to be really tough.
Can you push through the injuries?
In such a long season.
Speaking of injuries, we had an unlucky day with, we already said, Stamkos got hurt. And Luke Evangelista also got hurt.
Yeah, I didn't see either of the injuries happen. I joined in to watch the game about halfway through the second period when I got home last night, and I think they were both already off the ice, so I didn't see it. Were the plays anything? Did they look real gruesome or anything, or just...
I mean, they showed a replay of the Stamkos one, I think you saw.
I don't remember what happened.
I mean, his skate got caught and he fell.
Oh, yeah. He was having a hard time getting off the ice. Okay.
I can't exactly remember what Evangelista's was.
Yeah.
He needed help getting off the ice, though.
Well, hopefully we get an update today. I haven't seen anything yet, so hopefully we get something soon and see how those guys are doing.
And it was almost even up to injuries last night when, for the Jets, Josh Morrissey got hurt too.
Uh-huh. Man, yeah. I mean, it's so hard. It's such a tough sport. You get these players go down to injury fairly frequently, and it's hard to watch, but it emphasizes how important it is to have depth, right? You have to have people that can step up. Next guy up mentality. Someone's got to come up and be ready to score when the top players go down. And I think for our team, we're struggling so much to score goals this season that to see two of our more offensively gifted players like Stamkos and Evangelista go down is not the best thing for our team. So hopefully some other guys can step up and in the meantime, and maybe these injuries aren't too severe.
The Jets' fourth goal was on the power play. Their deadly, ruthless, no mercy power play.
Yeah.
They immediately got the puck, and Shifley went behind the net and passed it to Ehlers, and he tapped it to Velarde, who immediately shot it in, and it was just...
Yeah. It was nasty. Perfectly executed. Power play goal. Exactly what you expect. And Velarde, what was that? I don't remember how many goals he has this season. Already
17 or 18.
Close to 20 goals already. He's having a great season. Like I said, the Jets are very talented. They're going to be a super hard team to beat in the playoffs because I feel like they play good playoff style hockey too. It's not just pretty hockey. They're tough. They're physical also sometimes when they need to be, and they're gonna be a tough team to beat. Whereas I feel like some of the other teams that we've seen have moments this season, maybe like the Minnesota Wild. I think they're gonna be good. But maybe not quite ready to make a deep cup run like the Jets look like they're ready. I think one of the other teams in the West, though, that I just watched a little bit play last night or 2 nights ago, last night against the Sharks, is the Golden Knights. The Golden Knights are once again maybe the best team in the West. They're going to be really hard to beat. And they're healthy.
I can't believe how good they are.
Yeah.
Always. Ever since 2017.
Since they came into the league.
When they came into the league with the expansion draft, they took James Neal from the Preds.
Yeah, they stole James Neal from the Preds. Bunch of other players.
A bunch of other they got Marchessault in the expansion draft, I think.
But props to them and their general manager, which I don't know his name, but to be able to come in, imagine, right? When you come in as an expansion team, which they changed the rules to try to make it more likely to be competitive as an expansion team, because some of the teams like the Atlanta Thrashers, when they came in, they weren't competitive enough to really capture a fan base and have the audience enjoy watching the games and want to be a part of it. And when you're a starting franchise, if you don't have that, now you're not selling tickets, you're not making enough money, nobody wants to watch the team. You just can't support it. Whereas these teams that have been around forever, they can handle having some rough seasons, like the Blackhawks right now, right? That's an original six team. They have a massive fan base. Or you think of most of the Canadian teams, things like that. Their fan base is so big and so dedicated, like we are for the Preds, right? I mean, when the Preds suck, we're still going to watch every game. We're still going to cheer them on. We're going to be excited about our future prospects. But a new team doesn't have that. So they changed the rules, and now a team comes into the league, but it still wouldn't be easy. Because remember, we got to protect, I think around, 15 players, something like that, where we say, you can't pick one of these 15 players. So they're choosing from our bottom tier players and building a team with one player from every team's bottom tier. So that means no top six forwards, no top pair defensemen, no starting goaltender. You're choosing everyone's bottom half, but the Golden Knights somehow were still able to construct a winning team that only a few years later won the cup and basically made the playoffs. Did they make it every year? Or did they miss one year maybe?
They might have missed like one of the COVID years.
What a story. I mean, that's just incredible. And now the Vegas fans are
incredibly just dedicated.
Super dedicated. We haven't been to a game in Vegas, but I've heard the show is one of the best in the league. Like taking in the atmosphere of watching the Golden Knights at home. It's one of the best in the league, which I think Nashville is also one of the best in the league. And a lot of fans around the NHL say the same thing. I heard a Canadian fan mention it recently, like, man, I went to a game in Nashville. That was the most fun I've had. I want to make sure I always go see my team play in Nashville. So sounds like we might need to make a road trip to see a Preds versus Golden Knights game in Vegas one of these days.
Okay, we've seen Bridgestone Arena. Now let's see how you guys do it.
Yeah, let's see what T-Mobile Arena looks like.
That's T-Mobile.
Anything else from the game last night?
I mean, I know I'm saying this again, but Hellebuck I just can't explain it.
Yeah. The saves he was making, some of them weren't like highlight reel saves that you're going to see on SportsCenter Top 10 or, the saves of the year candidates.
In our basically 6-minute power play, we shot and it got tipped and Hellebuck just went and gloves it.
And that's what I mean. He made what would be a very difficult save to make. Imagine someone shoots a 90-mile-per-hour shot at you. The puck is flying towards you, and halfway there, it gets tipped by someone and starts to travel in a completely different direction. Often those go in because you don't have enough time as a goalie. I played goalie growing up. It's really hard you're in position, you know where the puck's going to go, then all of a sudden, it's going the other way. It's really hard to adjust. And he caught multiple of those with his glove so easily. It just made it look so simple. He's unbelievably talented. How big is he?
I think he's medium size.
That's what I was going to say too. I think he's tall.
6'2" or something.
Yeah, but not one of the tallest goalies.
Taller
than our goalie, Saros. But yeah, not like an Anthony Stolarz. So he's big, but he's not massive, and he's fast. But I think mostly he just plays the position perfectly. He's always in the right spot.
Yeah, and for the fifth goal, the empty netter for the Jets, none other than Nino Niederreiter to score it because former Predators always
somehow.
Always score. Or if there's a player who's playing his first career NHL game, has never scored before, they're gonna score.
Yes. If there's some kind of special story,
a milestone
goal,
McDavid with the 1,000th point.
That was against the Preds.
That was against the Preds.
I would not be surprised at all if Alex Ovechkin breaks Wayne Gretzky's goal-scoring record against the Nashville Predators. Well, we should look on the calendar and see when we play them.
the I mean, we only played them 2 times since they're in another conference, and we played them on Saturday, so it's not.
It's
gonna
done
happen this season against the Preds.
And that's our second game, right?
That's our second game.
Yeah. So if it's going to happen this
season,
it would have to be next season. Yeah. You know what? I heard a good idea the other day that on the Spit and Chicklets podcast, they were saying they think the next Winter Classic should be Penguins versus Capitals and have Crosby versus Ovechkin.
That would bring back.
Now they've both been playing for 20 years. Yeah, exactly. And just really highlight, because the story building up can highlight how much both of those guys have done in the league, and whether Ovechkin has broken the record by then or not. Imagine, what if he broke the record like at a game like that
against Sidney Crosby at the Winter Classic?
Yeah, I think we're saying that maybe this is the time to start tuning in to most Capitals games. I don't know when that point is, when he's 20 goals away, 10 goals away, something like that. We're probably going to start watching every Washington Capitals game because it's just so special. We're only going to see this happen. Who knows? Maybe never again, right? And I don't think anyone ever thought Wayne Gretzky's goal-scoring record would ever be touched. And Ovechkin's about to do it. So it's really special. We'll probably be tuning into most Capitals games. They play tonight, I think, against Vancouver Canucks, who I've been really enjoying watching the Canucks this season after they took out the Preds last year. And Quinn Hughes and those guys, which are injured right now, but the Canucks are still hanging on. They're still doing pretty well. So we might be tuning into that. But how funny would it be? Someone was saying that Gary Bettman and Wayne Gretzky are going to start going on a road trip. They're going to be following the Washington Capitals as OV gets closer and closer to breaking the record. And they were saying, how funny would it be if OV gets within 4 or 5 goals and then just goes on a long drought where he goes 20 games like Forsberg's on right now, 20 games without scoring a goal. And Bettman and Gretzky are forced to just share a hotel and travel with this team for months on end. And then the season ends and he doesn't break the record. And then he goes into the playoffs and scores a bajillion goals in the playoffs that don't count towards the record. It's only regular season goals. Imagine that. That would be funny. I mean, you have to be prepared for stuff like that. It's the way hockey works. It's rarely a guy that can stay consistent, scoring game after game after game. But Ovechkin's the kind of player that can do it. So I think we got to start tuning in and seeing how he does. Anything else from the game last night?
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay, so let's talk about the World Juniors wrapped up on Sunday night. Team USA wins the gold medal, back-to-back champions for the first time in World Juniors history. USA gets the repeat. And what a game, too. It was a close game. USA starts down 3-1. And somehow you just knew from watching them over this tournament and last tournament that they were going to come back. They were going to do it. If they could just get that one goal in the second to get it a little bit closer, get it to 3-2. But not only did they get the one, they tied it up before the second period was over. It's 3-3. They have all the momentum going into the third. You just knew it was going to happen. They were pouring the pressure on, but Czechia's goalie was playing, Finland's goalie was playing super well. He was blocking shots, keeping them in the game. It goes to OT, and what happens?
None other than Predators prospect Teddy Stiga scores the overtime game-winning goal in the gold medal game.
The golden goal for Team USA. Freebird starts playing in the background. That was their goal song this year. They chose the guitar solo part of Freebird, which I think was a cool choice. And props to them for picking that song too. It was so good. But Teddy Stiga, this was his first shot on goal in the entire tournament. He was scratched in the first game, I believe. Something like that. Yeah. He played a few more games. I remember seeing a couple of assists, but he never had a shot on goal until the game-winning gold medal goal in overtime. That will forever be a moment in USA hockey history that people talk about, and it's Teddy Stiga. And you wonder, is that going to be something he continues to build a career on? Or sometimes you got guys that do stuff like that never do anything noteworthy again, but you'll always remember that one moment, so it'll be cool to see what his future looks like. He looked like a great player, and he's young. He can play for the World Juniors at least one more time, so it'll be cool to see what he does. Other Preds prospects had a good tournament too. Obviously, that was the biggest moment, though, for sure.
I mean, I would say David Edstrom did good.
Edstrom looked amazing. Yeah, had the 2 goals for Sweden.
4 goals.
Looked really good. Yeah, I think he's got a really bright future with the Predators. He's like a big forward too. He's super strong on the puck. He's gonna be fun to watch.
However, I am a little bit sad that Joey Willis didn't get a lot of playing time.
Me too, and especially with how good of a season he's having. It would have been cool to see him get to touch the puck more. But Team USA was so good. We brought such a strong team. That first line all plays together at Boston College, and we have to also note their coach, David Carl. Is that his name? David Carl, I think, is the coach. He is now back-to-back champions at World Juniors, but also won the collegiate championship at Denver. And I wonder if he's going to land on an NHL team as a head coach soon. Maybe the Preds. Maybe reunite with Teddy Stiga.
Who knows? Maybe,
yeah. Teams that are showing a super bright future, Predators. We had 8 prospects in the tournament. Multiple of them played really well. I thought it was a good World Juniors for Nashville Predators fans, especially with the team not performing up to expectations so far this year. We really enjoyed watching some of the future Preds perform well at the tournament, but who else looked like they're going to have some great players coming soon?
I don't know. The Washington Capitals?
Yeah, Ryan Leonard. He won the MVP of the tournament. Just looked incredible. And then on top of that, they also have a great defenseman coming for them. They've got Cole Hudson, Lane Hudson's brother, who Lane Hudson is playing unbelievable hockey right now for the Canadiens. I just saw he passed Mitch Celebrini, now is top in rookie scoring.
Oh my gosh.
As a defenseman.
Okay.
So he's playing out of his mind.
Is Lane Hudson going to do it?
And some people were watching the World Juniors going, is Cole Hudson better than Lane Hudson? Which I think they're different players. I think Cole Hudson's a grittier player. But he was so dominant whenever he touched the puck. So Capitals, unbelievable opportunity for them. Detroit Red Wings.
Got Axel Sandy Pellica and USA goalie Trey Augustine.
Yes, exciting for Red Wings fans. Those were 2 of the standouts of the tournament. Sweden's captain, defenseman, ASP, and USA goalie Trey Augustine. They both looked like incredible players. That's great for Red Wings. Who Red Wings, by the way, 5-game win streak under new coach Todd McClellan. Mm-hmm. They're playing way better hockey all of a sudden, and could definitely be one of the teams to look out for, making a push here towards the playoffs or just in the next couple of years. And great for Detroit and great for the league. We need the Red Wings to be a good team. And I loved watching the Red Wings growing up with Yzerman and Lidstrom and Datsuk. Yeah, all these guys that had legendary careers there. And Detroit's on a drought. I don't think they've been in the playoffs for a while. And I remember watching some Detroit versus Nashville battles that were fun, especially we were in the same division for a while.
Oh, we used to play them like 8 times a year.
Yeah.
And they were our rivals.
They were. Now then it kind of turned into Chicago until we swept Chicago in our epic 2017 Stanley Cup playoff run. And then Chicago, that just stole all of their confidence. They have sucked ever since. The Predators beat the life out of the Blackhawks in that playoff run, and they haven't been the same ever since. That was the end.
I mean, some people are just like, why does the Blackhawks suck? I mean, do you guys remember the Predators series?
That's right. I mean, that year the Blackhawks went in number 1 seed. We come in barely making it into the playoffs, and we swept them 4-0. Blackhawks are out.
Like 2 shutouts.
Pecorine had multiple shutouts, I think, and Yeah, we went on to get to the finals and
Lose
lost
to
to the
Penguins.
Penguins. Yeah, lost to the
Sidney
Penguins.
Crosby's ultimate.
Super fun run though. Charlie, you were
How was that?
4 years old, I think, and he was having so much fun watching those playoff games. We went down to some watch parties. One of them in Market Square. I remember the news was there interviewing us.
Oh yeah,
You know, for
he got interviewed.
saying, "Oh,
And I was like
wow,
in the background with my tiny hockey
a
stick.
tiny hockey stick playing." We had so much fun. That'll forever be one of our favorite Nashville Predators, memories. But hope to have a Stanley Cup win one day in the future that'll top that. But for now, that was the ultimate. Yeah, that was the ultimate.
Yeah.
So that's it, I think, from the World Juniors recap. Any other standouts for you from World Juniors?
Well, we were talking about teams that might have a bright future. I mean, the Blues also had 8 or 9 prospects in the
They
World
did.
Juniors.
Yeah,
so
they had a bunch, including the
Dalibor Dvorsky.
Dalibor Dvorsky, captain for what country is he from?
No, like Slovakia.
Maybe Slovakia?
Maybe, I think.
Something like that. Dalibor Dvorsky, he looked very good too.
I think he had like a hat trick.
Yeah, had multiple points. Looked really strong. He's going to be a great player for the Blues, and the Blues are playing. They're playing better. They could be a contender. I felt bad. I feel a little bit bad for the Oilers. They let 2 players go, 2 defensemen defensemen, maybe 1 defenseman, 1 forward, over to the Blues, who are both playing really well for the Blues. So that stinks for Oilers fans. But it was a great World Juniors tournament. Next year will be in Minnesota. That reminds me, one more player stand out, Zeev Buium for the Minnesota Wild. He looked really good too. He didn't score as much as Cole Hudson scored, but Buium looked just so strong. Every time he had the puck, he was in control. He's playing well defensively. He was a beast.
He seemed, I noticed that he seemed, especially when he had the puck, just dominant with everything.
Yeah, so those guys are all going to be fun to watch. So, next year down here in Minnesota, can Team USA go for the three-peat? We'll be looking forward to watching. Okay, let's see. I guess let's go ahead and check on stuff around the league.
Yeah.
So our last episode was Sunday games. Any big standouts for you here? Rangers blow out the Blackhawks. I mean, that's 2 teams that are just not playing the best hockey right now. Not a lot of interesting there, but Rangers scored.
Out of 5 games, 3 of them were decided in overtime.
Yeah, so some close ones, right? Maple Leafs stay hot. Look who scores here.
Matthew Knies, we were talking about him in our last episode a lot. He looked beautiful.
Ekman Larson gets on the board there.
He's a fantasy card in EA NHL.
That's right, yeah. Ducks get a win over the Lightning. That's pretty big for the Ducks. We got OT win for the Hurricanes.
Like they're doing good recently.
Islanders take out the
Especially
Bruins.
Toronto.
2 teams not doing well. Then we go over to Monday. We got 4 games on the roster Monday night. I watched a bit of this Canadiens Canucks game, and that was a good one. Close game, goes to overtime. Canadians are really fun to watch right now. I'm super enjoying watching the Canadians. I'm reading a book about Ken Dryden's book, The Game That's Canadians. We're going to Montreal in February. I'm kind of Canadians focused right now, and they've been really fun to watch, as well as the Canucks. So I was interested in that game. We had a goal from Cole Caulfield, 2 back-to-back from JT Miller.
And the Jonathan
Curry Maki, I don't know this guy. Caden Gooley has been a fun player to watch for them. Kirby Dach.
He's on fire right now.
Yeah, he's tearing it up. That was a power play goal assisted by none other than Lane Hudson and Nick Suzuki. And then Lane Hudson scores unassisted here. Jake DeBrusk gets a power play goal to tie it up. Nick Suzuki wins the game in overtime, assisted
by Lane Hudson and Cole Caulfield.
That's what I mean. I mean, their star players are playing like star players. Suzuki looks like a very talented 2-way forward.
He's a great captain for them, I think.
I think if these guys can all keep it up, I would like to see Slavkovsky start to play better than he has been. But, I mean, he gets on the scoreboard here. He's got an assist. But he's a very talented player that went number 2 overall, I think, right? So maybe not quite playing up to expectations, but definitely shows promise.
No, I think he was first.
Was he first overall? Okay.
Before Bedard. That one season.
Wow.
Before the Bedard season.
Before the Bedard season. Okay. Yeah, so I mean that's a good one. Avalanche win again.
I tried to watch some of that game, but I fell asleep.
Yeah, I know you've been really following Mikko Rantanen's career. And Casey Middlestat, yeah. And Rantanen, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent after this season. So I'll be really interested to see if the Avalanche can get him signed before the end of the year. I mean, the Avalanche are on fire. They look like a serious threat to win the cup. They're just so talented. We saw last episode 3 players in the top 10 in points in the league. Insane. And this is the Stanley Cup champs. They beat the Panthers 3-1. That's incredible. Kraken lose to the Devils. I feel like Kraken haven't been quite as good as we hoped. They had a promising little period there, and they've kind of fallen back off. But Devils are very good right now, so that was at least a close game. Then we take it into last night's games, and we've got anything standouts here for you?
Let's see. Well, the Oilers shut out the Bruins 4-0.
Yeah, I mean, Henrique, McDavid, Henrique.
And Arvidsson.
Victor Arvidsson gets on the board with an empty netter.
Did Brett Kulak have 3 assists?
Let's see. Kulak. Hyman.
Oh, no, just 2.
Kulak here. Yeah, 2 assists for him. Yeah, that was a disappointing showing for the Bruins. But again, Oilers, top team in the West.
Corey Perry got his butt kicked in a fight.
Oh, I did see that. That was a highlight for us. We are not big Corey Perry fans in this house.
He ended Ryan Ellis's career back in the Winter Classic.
Yeah, that was, and he's had a lot of dirty plays like that over his career. Just not a fun player for us to watch. We're not quite there yet, boys. We'll bring you in just a minute. So yeah, that was a tough one. Looks like Stars and Rangers was close. Went to overtime. 5-4 for Stars. Same here, shootout victory for Blue Jackets over Penguins, 4-3. Maple Leafs, close one, 3-2 over Flyers.
And
Maple Leafs stay
hot.
hot.
In that game.
Matthew Nyes, did he? Oh, John Tavares on the board. Austin Matthews.
There he is.
Matthew Nyes. That's the game winner too. That's a good one. We got Wild over Blues. Jets, Preds. We're gonna watch the recap here in a minute of Jets versus Predators. Flames and Ducks. And then Golden Knights versus Sharks. I want to show when we get to the video portion, Mark Stone kind of schooled Macklin Celebrini in the last empty net goal here, feeding the puck to Thomas Hertl. As it's a good learning moment for a young player like Celebrini. You're trying to do as much as you can, and sometimes you get costly turnovers, and I could tell Celebrini was disappointed.
I just want to point out that Don't forget to check out the NHL quarter century teams that they're releasing every day right now.
Yeah, good point. So these are the top players from each team over the last 25 years since it's 2025. I thought that was a good idea, and they're releasing a first All-Star team for that team and a second All-Star team for that team. So it'll be 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, and a goalie. And they've done a few teams so far. It's about 1 or so per day. And the Predators come out, I think, on the 30th or 29th, towards the end of the month. So
the Wilds came out yesterday or something.
Oh, I didn't see that one yet.
And I think Andrew Brunette was on the second team.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
That's funny. I didn't realize he had a good Wild career.
And Ryan O'Reilly was on one of the Blues' teams.
That makes sense. I mean, I think Blues fans will be forever grateful to Ryan O'Reilly. So that makes sense. And that season, particularly that playoff run, he played like an elite all-star, and he's always been very solid, but for that stretch, he played like the best player in the league. And I think the Blues fans will always remember that, and that's pretty cool. We ready for our featured cards of the day?
All right.
I'll go ahead and warn you. I don't know if you're going to guess mine. Mine's a little unorthodox. The last couple episodes went Predators theme. Mine's not a Predator today.
Neither is mine.
Yours isn't either. Okay, who you got? You go first.
All right. I've got Connor Hellebuck.
Oh, good pick.
With another medal card.
Man, 3 in a row. What do you have? A medal card for every one of these players?
I only have 6 medal cards, but for some reason they're all doing good. So I got this Connor Hellebuck.
Let me zoom this in a little bit for you. Oh, that's a good one. Here, let me see.
This medal one.
That's a good one.
Right.
Just sit back down there,
You
Charlie.
go now.
All right. I've got Yudi Canvas, Alex Ovechkin. This was a recent poll in the Upper Deck Series 1. With Ovi on the hunt for the record. We were talking about him today. I thought that would be a good pick. I'm excited to just watch the Capitals through this last stretch and see how they do. Augie, you want to go next? Who do you got?
Philip Forsberg.
Philip Forsberg ends his goal drought. You want to show the camera?
He had 1 goal yesterday.
1 goal last night. 1 million assists, it seems like, over the last month. Don't fact check that. But something close to 1 million, it feels like. Okay, Sully, what do you got?
Peter Forsberg.
Ooh, famously Nashville Predator, Peter Forsberg, right?
All-Star games.
Yeah, hold it nice and still in front of the camera so they can see. There it is. That's a good Peter Forsberg card. Let me see that one. Nice. 3 NHL All-Star games. Tops Magic Moments. This is a 99 Peter Forsberg card. You better get a sleeve on that one. That's a good card. Protect that one. Very good. Thanks, boys. All right. Well, that about wraps up to this chatting portion of the stream. I think we can move on to breaking down the Preds game. Yeah. So that means we're going to end the YouTube stream here. The Twitch stream, we're going to have to fire back up. So if you want to follow along, watch the recap with us, just refresh the stream here in a minute. Thanks for tuning in. We will have our next episode on Sunday morning. We'll shoot for about the same time, around 10:30, 11. That'll be following the Saturday night Nashville Predators game against
the Washington Capitals.
Washington Capitals. So we're watching the Caps.
Ovechkin watch.
Ovechkin watch. Let's see if he gets any more goals. I'll go ahead and hope that he doesn't get any more next game since it's against the Predators. But we're super excited to watch him on the hunt here. And we need you guys to like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow along on Twitch. We're booting up our social media pages, so find us on Instagram and TikTok. We don't have a Facebook yet. We'll get that up soon, but if you're watching, go ahead and follow us on our socials. Anything else?
No, just hope that Ovechkin doesn't score 23 goals
against the Predators. That it wouldn't
like
be
that
unheard of against the Nashville Predators. 23 goals to break the record. Unfortunately, that's the way our season has gone, it seems. So stay saucy.
Stay saucy.
See you in a minute on Twitch.